I disappeared for 2 whole years and my parents didn't even notice. Not a call, not a message, nothing. But last night my mom finally contacted me for the first time, only to demand something shocking. She didn't ask if I was alive. She didn't ask where I'd been. She only said, "You must give it to us now." And the moment I refused, everything in my old house turned into a nightmare I never saw coming. My phone lit up with a name I had not seen in 2 whole years. Mom. I stared at the screen and felt my chest get tight. For a second, I thought it was a mistake. My hand even shook a little. This woman had not called me for my birthday, Christmas, or New Year. Not once. But tonight, at 9:47 p.m., she finally decided I existed. I picked up. "Hello." Her voice came sharp and bossy, like nothing had happened. "Where have you been?" "I have been trying to reach you," she said. That was a lie. I checked my phone records often. No missed calls from her. No messages. Nothing. I did not argue. I just kept quiet. She sighed loudly. "Anyway, listen. Your father and I need your help. We are in trouble. You have a good job now, right? You are earning well. We need money. A lot of money. You must send it." There it was. Not, "How are you?" Not, "Are you safe?" Not, "We miss you." Just a command. "You must send it." "How much?" I asked, my voice flat. She cleared her throat. $20,000. You will give it to us. We raised you. It is your duty. Your younger brother's school, your father's debts, the house, everything depends on you now. If you refuse, you are not our child. I felt my jaw tighten. The room around me went quiet. I remembered all the nights I cried alone in my tiny room. The day I left the house with one small suitcase and nobody noticed. The 2 years of silence. Now they remembered me. Because they wanted something. I almost laughed. But instead, I spoke slowly. "So you need $20,000. And you think I will just give it to you?" "Yes. You owe us," she said quickly. "You are our investment. Children must pay their parents back. You have always been ungrateful. This is your chance to do one good thing." My hand stopped shaking. I felt something inside me grow calm and cold. If she could see my face, she would have seen a small smile. "All right, Mom," I said. "I will give you exactly what you deserve." There was a pause on the line. "What do you mean by that?" she asked. I did not answer her question. Instead, I said, "Do not worry. You will get it soon." Then I ended the call and stared at my reflection in the dark window. If you were in my place, what would you do? Would you send the money? Or would you remember the way they forgot you? As I put the phone down, my mind went back to the beginning. To the last day I lived in that house. To the last time I tried to be their child before I became invisible. It started 2 years earlier, on a rainy Thursday, when I tested them without telling anyone. That morning, I walked out of my parents' house with my suitcase, passed right in front of both of them in the living room, and said, "Goodbye." Neither of them even looked up. I still remember how the rain beat against my face that morning when I walked out of the house. My suitcase wheels dragged on the wet ground, making a soft scraping sound. I paused at the gate, expecting someone to shout my name, or at least ask where I was going. But no voice came, no footsteps behind me. I stood there for a few seconds, hoping I would hear my mom say, "Come back inside, it's raining." Or hear my dad say, "Where are you going with your bag?" Or maybe my brother would peek from the window. Nothing. The only sound was the rain. I took that as my answer. I left the gate open on purpose, just to see if anyone would come out. No one did. When I finally walked away, it felt like the world behind me stayed frozen. A house full of people, yet I walked out like I was a stranger. The bus ride to my new apartment was quiet. I kept staring at my phone. No calls, no texts, not even a missed message. I told myself, maybe they are waiting for me to come home tonight. But I knew deep down that wasn't true. That night, I slept on a thin mattress on the floor of my small studio apartment. I kept my phone right beside me. Still nothing. Days passed. Then weeks. Then months. Not a single message. The first month hurt the most. Every time my phone vibrated, I jumped, thinking it might be my mom or dad asking if I was okay, but it was always a delivery notification or a random email. By the third month, I stopped checking my phone with hope. By the sixth month, I realized they did not care. Still, life moved on. I got a job at a small tech company, started saving money, and began building a life without them. I learned how to cook simple meals, how to budget, and how to live without the noise of constant criticism. But even with my new routine, there were days when the loneliness hit hard. Days when I wondered why my own parents could forget about me so easily. I cried sometimes, not because I missed them, but because I felt like I was never truly theirs. One day, something strange happened. I bumped into an old neighbor at the supermarket. She looked shocked to see me. "Your mother said you traveled abroad for training," she said. I blinked. "She did." "Yes, she said you were too busy to visit," the woman added. She sounded so proud. I felt my stomach twist. My mother lied to cover up the fact that I was gone. She didn't tell anyone the truth. She didn't even mention that I had moved out. That lie made everything clear. They did not just forget me. They wanted people to believe they were good parents, even if it meant pretending I still lived with them. Still, I stayed silent. I worked harder, saved more, and began to grow stronger mentally and emotionally. I did not plan to go back. But one night, something happened that changed everything. It was late. I was working on my laptop when my phone lit up with a number I recognized too well. My father. He never called me, not even once. I stared at the screen. My heart beat fast. I picked up slowly. His voice was shaky. "We need to talk. It is serious." I sat up straight. Something in his tone told me this was not a normal call. Before I could ask what was wrong, I heard something crash loudly in the background. Someone screamed. "Dad, what was that?" I asked. He whispered, "It's your brother, he." Then the line cut off. The call ended so suddenly that I sat frozen for a few seconds, just staring at my phone screen. My father never sounded afraid. Not once in my entire life. Hearing fear in his voice felt strange, like the world had flipped upside down. I tried calling him back. No answer. I called again. Still nothing. On the third try, the call went straight to voicemail. My chest felt tight. Even after everything they did, I didn't want anything bad to happen to my brother. I didn't hate him. I just knew he was their favorite. I paced around my small apartment, wondering if I should go over there. But something held me back. These people had forgotten me for 2 years. They didn't care if I was alive. Suddenly they needed me, and chaos was happening in the background. It didn't feel right. I waited for 20 minutes, hoping they would call again. Instead, I got a message from an unknown number. It said, "Come home now. It's urgent." No name, no explanation, just a command. I stared at it. My hands trembled a little. I grabbed my keys and rushed out. Even though they hurt me, those people were still my family, and the scream I heard didn't sound fake. The ride back to my parents' house felt like the longest trip of my life. The roads looked darker than usual, and the streetlights flickered like they were tired. When I reached the gate, it was wide open, swinging slowly with the breeze. My heart dropped. Something was wrong. I stepped inside. The living room lights were off. The whole house was quiet. Too quiet. I could almost hear my own heartbeat. "Hello," I called out. No answer. I moved slowly deeper into the house. I noticed things scattered on the floor, like someone had rushed out or panicked. A broken glass, pillows out of place, my father's shoes lying near the door. "Dad," I said louder. "Mom." Silence. I checked the kitchen. Empty. I checked the dining room. Empty. I walked down the hallway and pushed open my parents' bedroom door. The room was dark, but I could see shapes. I reached for the light switch and turned it on. The whole room was a mess. Drawers open, clothes thrown everywhere, and something written on the mirror with a red marker. It said one word, "Pay." My stomach knotted. I backed away slowly. That was when I heard a sound. A faint knocking, like someone tapping a window. Tap, tap, tap. I followed the sound to my old bedroom. The door was half open. I pushed it wider and froze. My brother was inside, sitting on the floor with his hands tied. His face was wet with tears. "Help me," he said in a weak voice. "Please." Before I could move, before I could even breathe, someone stepped out from behind the door. A tall man wearing a black hoodie. He held something metal in his hand. And he smiled. The man's smile froze me in place. It wasn't a friendly smile. It was the kind of smile someone wears when they know they have full control. My heart thudded so loudly I felt it in my throat. He raised the metal object in his hand. It was a small hammer. Not huge, but dangerous enough. My brother whimpered when he saw it. "Good," the man said softly. "You're finally here." I stepped back, but he took one slow step toward me. "Don't worry," he said. "No one will get hurt. As long as you cooperate." My eyes darted to my brother. His hands were tied with rough rope, and he had a small cut on his forehead. He looked terrified. This wasn't a joke. This wasn't something I could talk my way out of. "What do you want?" I whispered. The man tilted his head. "Your parents owe me money. A lot of it." My heart sank. Money. Always money. The same thing my mom had called me for. He continued, "They said you would come. They said you have money. They said you would solve everything." My chest tightened. My parents sent this man to me. They used me as bait. Again. "Where are they?" I asked, forcing my voice to stay steady. The man shrugged. "Ran out the back door before I got here. They left their son behind. But they said you'd care enough to come." He chuckled, like it was funny. "Parents, right." I felt something hot burn behind my eyes. My mom and dad didn't even stay. They didn't try to protect my brother. They left him tied up like trash and ran. And they expected me to fix their mess. "Untie him," I said. The man shook his head. "Not until I get my money." "How much?" 20,000. The exact number my mom asked for. Everything suddenly made sense. They planned it. The fake emergency. My father's shaky voice. The scream in the background. The text from an unknown number. They lured me here so I could pay off their debt. The anger that rose inside me felt cold and sharp. But I kept my face calm. "I don't have the money in cash. I'll need to transfer it." The man smiled again. "Good. You're smarter than your parents." He reached into his pocket, pulling out his phone and walking closer. "Do it now," he ordered. "No tricks." My brother looked up at me, eyes begging. "Please," he whispered. "Just do what he says." But something inside me had changed. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was about everything they had ever done to me. Leaving me behind. Forgetting me. Using me. Lying to everyone. And now this. I swallowed hard and took a slow step closer. My voice was soft. "All right. Give me your account details." The man raised the phone so I could type. He stepped even closer, just a few inches from me. His hammer lowered a little as he focused on the screen. That was when something caught my eye on the floor. A heavy metal trophy from my old school days, lying near the desk. I knew how much it weighed. I used to polish it every week. And the man was standing right beside it. In that moment, everything went silent in my mind. No fear, no tears, just one clear thought. This was my chance. I moved before he even realized it. I bent down, grabbed the trophy with both hands, and swung it upward with every bit of strength I had. The trophy hit his arm first with a loud crack. He shouted in pain, dropping the phone. The hammer fell too, sliding across the floor. I swung again, this time hitting his shoulder. He stumbled backward, shocked. My brother screamed, "Run." But I didn't run. Not yet. Not when the man reached into his hoodie and pulled out something far worse. A knife. And he lifted it toward me with shaking hands. "You shouldn't have done that," he hissed. The knife glinted under the dim bulb, and for a second everything around me slowed down. I could hear my own breath, harsh and shaky. My brother's tied hands rattled against the rope as he cried out, "Please stop. Please." The man stepped toward me with the knife raised. His arm shook from the pain I caused, but his anger was stronger. His eyes looked wild, like he was ready to end everything right there. I backed away slowly, keeping my eyes locked on the blade. My foot brushed against something on the floor. At first I thought it was just another piece of junk thrown around the room, but when I looked down, my heart skipped. It was the hammer he dropped. Just a few inches from my toes. The man took another step forward. Move again, he growled, and I'll make sure you don't leave this house. My mind raced. I knew I had only one chance. If I bent down too fast, he would stab me. If I moved too slow, he would reach me. So I waited, heart pounding, sweating, waiting for the exact moment his eyes flicked away. It came quicker than I expected. My brother screamed again, and the man's gaze moved toward him for half a second. That was all I needed. I dropped to the floor, grabbed the hammer, and rolled to the side just as he lunged forward. His knife sliced the air where my chest had been. He stumbled because he expected to hit me. I swung the hammer at his wrist. He cried out, dropping the knife. I kicked the knife away and scrambled toward my brother. He was sobbing, shaking, terrified. Please untie me. Please hurry. I pulled at the rope, but it was tight. My fingers shook. I grabbed a piece of broken glass on the floor and cut through the rope as fast as I could. When he was finally free, he threw his arms around me. I'm sorry, he cried. Mom and Dad said you would come. They made me lie. They said if you paid, everything would be okay. My chest burned. They used even him. I pulled him up. We're leaving. Now. But before we reached the door, the man groaned and tried to get up. I pushed my brother behind me. The man looked like he wanted to try again, but his body failed him. His hands shook too much. He could barely stand. He stared at us, defeated. Tell your parents, he said in a broken voice, they can't run forever. I didn't answer. I didn't owe him anything. My brother and I left the house and stepped into the night. The cool air hit my face like a reminder that we escaped something terrible. When we got outside the gate, my brother grabbed my hand. They left me, he whispered. They ran away. They didn't care what happened to me. I looked at him. For the first time in my life, he didn't look like their chosen child. He looked like a scared boy who finally saw the truth. We walked to my car. I helped him in. When I sat in the driver's seat, my phone buzzed. Another message. Mom, did you fix it? Send the money. We are waiting. My brother saw it too. His eyes widened. They're hiding. They don't even know if we're alive. I looked at him, looked at the phone, looked at everything we just survived. And in that moment, I made a decision. One they would never forget. I typed slowly, calmly. You will get exactly what you deserve. Then I blocked both of them. Permanently. No calls. No messages. No more commands. My brother asked, what now? I started the car, the engine humming softly. Now, I said, we build our own life. Without them. And for the first time in 2 years, I felt free. Truly free. Life lesson. Sometimes the family you lose is the peace you gain.